Hey everyone, it's Jason. Welcome to the DC deck building game core box set for Arkham Asylum. So this is a brand new core set you can play as, which following the same veins as Forever Evil, you get to play as the villains as opposed to the heroes, which is always fun. Same with like the little roads expansion and stuff like that. This is a Kickstarter exclusive box. So basically what's going to mean is what this is they have the core Arkham set. They also have the Arkham Asylum Shadows expansion, which will be sold separately later on. But that is also in this box as well. Plus there's a first printing promo as well as some Kickstarter exclusive cards. But I will go through the regular core set. And I will do probably, there's enough cards, I'll probably maybe even do just a little small video for the Kickstarter stuff. In like a part 2. And the Shadow will be its own video, which also has its own couple of Kickstarter exclusive cards as well. So how do we know if it's Kickstarter exclusive box you're getting? So if you are ordering this online, make sure you look for the one that says Kickstarter exclusives, and if it also says Arkham Asylum Kickstarter expansion included as well. So keep in mind in that. And this does, a Kickstarter exclusive does also list the Kickstarter exclusive cards for Arkham Shadows as well. So, a lot of cool stuff, and there's a lot of different extra cards in there. So what are we doing with this? So, yeah, I got exclusive artwork in there as well. So we have play some of the different villains, feature returning victory point tokens, freeze tokens, and wriggle tokens. So we have some new mechanics to the game. So what's all in the game? Of course, we're going to have our big core set of cards, which is going to have our equipment, our hero cards, our locations, superpowers, villains, and heroes, of course. And then the superheroes that you get to fight, because you're fighting these are the bad guys. The bad guys for the villains that they get to fight, your goal to defeat. And then we have our main decks of cards, which we'll look over. We have our starter stuff, we have our punches, our vulnerabilities, our weaknesses, and then as a slight twist, instead of a kick deck, we actually have henchmen. So that's kind of fun. We get a different card that goes towards our main decks. Then we have all of our main heroes, villains rather, super villains you get to play as, but they also have special starter cards for each one, which is a new kind of fun mechanic. They kind of did a similar thing with Injustice. This kind of just adds a different flavor. And then we have our extra dividers. We have our oversized character divider. We have our regular card divider. We have our randomizer. And then we have a Kickstarter exclusive Two-Face coins. This is a metal coin, but this is Kickstarter exclusive, which has the scratches on it. This is pretty fun. Yeah, these are all basically for the randomizer. I guess you can use anywhere if you want, but these are kind of designed for the multiverse box set, which after all the stuff that came in this Kickstarter, all the different crossover, all the expansions, I will have a video linked in the description for showing storage of how all this new stuff can go in there. But we have that. And then we have some new tokens as well. So let's look at our token sheets here. We have a bunch of VP tokens. So we have some 5s and some 1s. I guess you flip them this direction. On the back side, they are 3s and 10s. So you have a lot of those to keep track of. We have some new freeze tokens. We have some Riddler tokens. We have our coin for Harvey, Two-Face. And we have a new bribe mechanic, which we'll go over. Just a little reminder card. Reminder of what the freeze do, and then Riddler's tokens have special things. This is for if you're playing specifically as Riddler. Then we did get an extra little sheet there as well, but this also might be an extra sheet that goes with the Shadow expansion. I'm not for sure which one they classify it under. Alright, so I want to go over some of the new rules before we hop into the game. So the core game is going to play exactly the same. Yeah, so that little sheet must be for the Shadow one. Cool. So all the rest of the card is going to stay the same. There is one new addition. Card number 7 on here is going to have Bribe Banner. Some cards with this banner can be played from the lineup by spending VP tokens. See page 10 for more details. So that's one of the big things that changes for there. So we're going to also have you have your 6 punches and your 7 vulnerabilities. So instead of 7 punches, you only have 6 because each reference, each character's starting card will determine which character you want to play. You can tell which character's unique starting card belongs to them. So they get their unique starting card instead, which I really love that. I love that as an idea in deck building games, giving everyone a little bit asymmetrical ability or something different than just the standard doesn't do anything card, just one extra buy power card. I usually did this anyhow. I went through and, like, if you're playing as Hawkman, I gave them, like, a Nith Mace. If you're Green Lantern, I tried to give everyone either the same card, just an extra additional card, or gave everyone kind of their own unique card, just to make them all a little bit more fun to play. Starts them off a little bit more. Then the regular setup, you start off with your Nemesis deck. As a reminder, Nemesis is a reference to either superheroes or supervillains. So if you're playing this, mixing and matching with other sets, you can mix and match the heroes and the villains. It doesn't matter. Then they're all just referred to as, in general, Nemesis. And you just want to stack them in their level order. I do love that they started adding the levels on there, so you could put them in certain orders, versus just, I'm going to randomly shuffle them all. Because then sometimes you got a really hard guy in there. You gotta set up your board like normal. Put your VP tokens, freeze token, your coin token over there. Bribe sheet up there. Otherwise, everything else gets set up just like normal. So as per tokens, place a two-face token and the VP token in the game area. Give each person a freeze token. So someone's playing as regular, they take all the regular tokens. Otherwise, all the rest of the stuff basically goes the exact same way. Game ends. When turn the last Nemesis has been defeated, immediately fill the lineup and cannot be refilled. End of the game. Turn all ongoing cards that have been played, all cards in hand, all in victory decks, add up your victory points. Also, add up your tokens as well that you've been collecting and spending or not spending. Attack, defense, all that stuff stays basically the same. I'm not going to go over too much of that, but we do have some new concepts in here we want to look over. Victory point tokens. When you gain or move one victory point, abbreviated VPs, from the gain the designated amount from the victory point tokens and place them on your character. The amount of VP tokens you have as public, you may feel free to exchange VP tokens. You have for an equal number of tokens from the supply. So what that's saying is if you end up with 5 1s, you could trade it in for a 5 token. Or if you have 2 5s, you could switch it over for a 10. If the ability causes you to lose VP, you do not have enough VP to lose as much. You can only lose as much as you can. Do not go to negative. One thing to keep in mind, though, is because they are double-sided, you need to make sure they're stacked in a way that you're not flipping them over. Because, again, you don't want someone flipping a 5 over to a 10, unless they're having 10 points, or a 1 to a 3. That's the only reason I wouldn't have made them double-sided, just because of that reason, because you have to worry about that. Then we have bribing cards. So they're going to have a little bribe symbol on them. So if I grab, for example, we have this bazooka. It says bribe 2 VP. Right in the middle there. Card of the bribe banner in the middle of the card tells you how many VP it costs while it's in the lap. During your turn, you may pay VP tokens equal to the VP cost listed in your bribe banner. When the bribe card, when you bribe a card, play it, put it next to the bribe tile instead of your play area. You resolve all effects of the card as if you had played it from your hand. The bribe card is no longer part of the lap. You may not buy this turn. You're considered to control the bribe card while it remains next to the bribe tile. At the end of your turn, put all cards next to the bribe tile at the bottom of the main deck in any order you bribe them. So basically, this is letting you, for a little bit cheaper and not spending your regular points, your power points, is to temporarily gain access to one card. And that goes away for nobody else to get. So it's a neat way to, I just need this quick thing. Plus, it's a good way to get some cards out of the deck. Some abilities allow you to bribe per card for zeros. You can use the ability to bribe a card even if it does not have an inherent bribe cost. So that's kind of fun as well. Note that reducing a VP cost to a bribe card does not affect the power cost and vice versa. So if you have something that reduces VP to 0, you can't buy it for cheaper. Or if you have something that reduces power, you can't bribe it for cheaper. A couple other cool mechanics is we have Surge. When a card would tell you to Surge, add the top card of the main deck to the lineup. You can cause the lineup to increase above 5 cards. If there's an empty lineup slot, add your card to the leftmost slot. Otherwise, start another row of cards below the lineup. This will cause some lineup slots to have more than one card. When refilling the lineup at the end of the turn, move any card start the leftmost below the lineup slots into the empty top row. If you end your turn with more cards on the left, do not add any more thing. So, if I have 5 cards in my main lineup and I surge, I add a 6th card to a second row. And if at any point at the end of my turn, spots in the top row are empty, I move cards from the second row up, and then if I can't fill any more, then I stop, and you don't add any more cards into the lineup. Cool. Then we have freeze tokens. When you freeze a card, set it aside under its owner's freeze token. You own cards that you freeze under your freeze token, but they're no longer part of your hand or discard pile. After you shuffle your discard pile, make it your deck. Place all cards under that freeze token in your discard pile at the end of the game. Cards still in your freezer return to your deck. So this is basically just letting you pull a card out of your hand or your discard pile and holding it off to the side, which could affect if you're doing something with playing with your deck, or maybe you need to get it back quicker. Like you play a card, maybe it gets frozen, and then it's sits out of the way, so it's not in your discard pile. We'll practice what cards work with that to see what it does. Then we have hostage cards, which are a brand new card type. Do not start in the main deck. At the start of the game, all hostages are shuffled in a face-down stack with the top card of the stack face up. Like the Nemesis stack, you may buy 1 hostage each turn, since the next card on the stack is not turned face up until after your turn. Gaining hostage is a way for you to earn VP tokens. All hostage cards have ongoing keywords, so don't put them in your discard pile at the turn you play them. You can either use your ongoing ability the turn you play them, or on a future turn. Any text above the ongoing keyword only resolves the turn you play the hostage, not every turn they are in play. Most hostages allow you to release them, turn the bottom of the hostage deck forward, and a bonus effect. And then releasing. To release a card, place at the bottom of the deck or stack where the card begins the game. Main deck cards go on the bottom of the main deck, while henchmen weakness hostages go on the bottom of their respective stacks. Starter cards go at the bottom of the current owner's deck. If an Nemesis card be released, remove it from the game instead. So very cool. And so if we flip back to the page where it shows our lineup, we do actually have a stack there for our supervillains, our weakness, our henchmen, which are kick cards in this game, and the hostage stack. Yeah, so very cool. Just some extra new concepts in there. We have some weakness cards that have some extra things. Some cards force you to gain 1 or more weakness. When you happen to take the indicated number of weaknesses from a weakness stack and place them into your discard pile. Weakness cards clog up your deck, reduce the score at the end of the game. You want to destroy them. Once you have a weakness in your hand, you may choose to play it and spend 1 BP token to release it. Return it to the weakness stack. So they have a way to get rid of them. We have the Two-Face coin, which is heads and tails, and regular tokens. Basically, if you're playing as the regular, you start the game to stack face 8 down regular tokens. These tokens can be attached to the lineup slots with the question mark side face up. Each lineup slot can have at most 1 regular token attached to it. The regular may look at the sides of them. After any foe gains or plays a card from the slot, so if you gain it by purchasing it, or if you play it by bribing it, for example, or a card that says something other than that, foe turns the face token, the token face up, immediately resolves the token, places it into the regular's token discard pile. You, on the regular tokens, is the foe that is reading the token. The regular has an attack. If the regular token has an attack, the regular resolves that attack against the foe reading the token. If the foe destroys or otherwise removes a card from the left, the token is destroyed. If you ever need to place it in your token stack is empty, just shuffle your discard pile. So, very cool. So, there's some extra new little mechanics for some of the different guys. You can play short games, long games by taking cards away or adding more cards. Character draft, if you want to do that. Just as a mention for combining sets in here. Arkham is compatible with other deck building products. So, in setting up the main deck, feel free to mix any one crossover or crisis expansion. If you want to customize cards in the main deck, we recommend do not go over 150 cards. If you wish to add new cards, you should remove cards of similar cost and type. So usually they recommend doing a full thing. So if I want to mix this with, let's say, Forever Evil, because that's also a villain set, And let's say I want to also do the rogue set, the crossover expansion. I could just straight up add the crossover expansion, but I could take out the equipment from this deck and add just the full equipment deck from the Forever Evil set. Or I could swap out just the villains for one set for the other, just the heroes from one set to the other. If you want to start customizing your deck even more, doing individually, then they're kind of saying if I want to take a 2-cost villain from one set, I'd have to add a 2-cost villain from the other set. And try and keep your villain numbers the same, your hero numbers the same. And you can play around with that a little bit, but if you end up with too many of one or too few of another, it might end up throwing off how well some characters do play. If you're playing a character with a unique starter, draw 2 unused unique starter cards at random from Arkham Asylum. Choose one of those cards to add to your deck and return to the other game box. So what is really fun about that, though, is they might not necessarily work as well with each individual character if you're playing with other characters that way, but it does give you an option to use them. But having the Kickstarter stuff gets you a few more cards, and having the Shadows expansion will get you even more cards to choose from. And any standard superhero villain can be mixed in the Nemesis stack. Nemesis from older sets may not have a level tag on their card. When using those Nemesis, treat them as having their level based on their cost. Which doesn't make a lot of sense, because some of them are like costs, because their levels only go up 1 to 4. And some of their costs are like 8 and 9. But you can kind of look at the other cards and get the idea. You can see, like, okay, so the higher level cards are your 4s, your level 4s, and all that. Kind of just gotta play around with this. Mixing a Crisis expansion. Playing a Crisis 3 and 1 through 4, just do some different stuff there. I'm not going to go through all that. You can kind of read that if you want. Alright, so that's basically what we have for this. So, I think we're going to call this just a quick, short, how to play video, then come back, check out video part 2, where we go actually start jumping into the cards. See you guys there. Bye.